that there really isn't an original idea at this point. I mean, look at just television in general. I mean, they're just completely bringing back old stuff from the fucking 60s and 70s now, old shows, Hawaii Five-O and all that shit. Nobody has any original fucking ideas now. I mean, something that's inherently original. But as like you were saying, Elijah, like even, and I can hear some of it sometimes in music. You'll hear like just a bar, and you're like, oh, that sounded familiar. And it's because it came from another song. I mean, you got to be careful with copyright stuff and all that jazz, but you can still, I mean, there's rules on that. You can only do like a certain amount or some shit like that.
But to that moment though, and I don't know if anyone else has that moment, but there are certain points in music, because I love music. I think it's the one thing that connects every single person on this earth. Is that you can listen to different types of music, but that's always the connector. And I moved around a lot, so I got into different types of music. There's always this one part in some songs where you hear it and you either want to cry or you play that part over again. It's like a tune. It's a sound. There's just one part where you go, God damn it, that's good. And I don't know what it is, but every time it like gives you chills, goosebumps, whatever. I think that's like the greatest. Like I think that's the gold case. That's the fucking, you know, the key that unlocks everything. It's just that one bit that everyone's trying to get to the point where people go, I have to replay it. Mm-hmm. I have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think music definitely has more of that power potential than comedy. Like comedy, I feel like is it's good for the moment. Like like it gives you that momentary like joy and whatever. But I feel like music lingers in your mind a lot more. I find it's very difficult to find a joke.
I mean both definitely linger, but I think comedy can create controversy a lot, and that
with time.
With time. I mean, like that is, and the vulnerability of like comedy. I feel brings us to our next section here.
It does, yeah.
Perfect. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I don't want to say anything.
I mean, see, it's all like, has its structure, my friend.
Like we're
it's all. Don't look behind the backdrop.
I'm not looking.
There's little gnomes with little tools, and the Wizard of Oz is back there. No, I was kidding. Yeah.
But I'm saying like when I was working this like variety show, what I got out like I wasn't just looking at the other musicians performing that night. I was looking at the improvists and the stand-ups to also look at what they were doing and steal shit from them, because it's like no matter what, it's performance and it's vulnerability, and I think the vulnerability of both improv. Like I can't not laugh at improv. I don't know why. I think it's just the awkwardness of improv. But then standing up, you know, it's just like in and of itself isn't so fucking vulnerable that it's just like, it's so beautiful in its own way. But I think like the lingering part that you were just talking about, like I've been to comedy shows where just like, it's not like a joke that lingers, but it was just like, you know, comedy's morality and the exact opposite and contrast I feel like is drama or whatever, you know? So you're looking at it like, how is this pushing society and how is it pushing me? And it's like, is that right? You know, it's like there's always an ethical question. You know, it's just like I've gotten into so many debates about like what you can say with comedy or what have you. You know, it's just like, right. And it's that's what I think so fascinating. But like, definitely how to be vulnerable on stage, because you see some performers musically, and it's like you're not letting anyone in. You're just like playing in front of people instead of like performing as its own strain or stream of conscious. You know, it's just like. You're not like welcoming, you know, it's just like whatever you want to do. You're not even being like abrasive. You're just there or something, you know? It's like, you know, it's like stage presence really matters. And like, that's what I gained out of those comedians watching them like every week. I was like, wow, holding space.
There's definitely a way like we can notice that with an improvised or improv team or improvisers in general, that what you're talking about. For musicians though, how do you delineate between the two? Somebody who's just playing versus somebody who's performing. Have you gleaned any tidbits where you can tell between the difference? So I can definitely tell the difference. I'm sure you can tell the difference, Norm, as well. And it's very easy in improv to tell who's just there to be funny and who's there to actually be vulnerable and give like a true performance on stage. But for musicianship, I'm curious if there's a way you can tell, or if you've noticed anything like that.
Well, I think like it's all comparative. So it's like I compare someone's performance to my own performances. So I look at somebody and I'm like, I'm sure you guys get the same way. It's just like, would I make that decision? Would I say this? Would I say that? Would I do this? Would I say yes to that? Like, you know, it's never saying no in improv, right? Or is it always say, it's always say yes?
Well, there's
I
mean,
the rules and stuff like that.
You start at one point, and then once you get into the real weeds,
you pay for no-nos, and then later on in your career, you realize
you're like,
you gotta say a lot
I'm
of
gonna say no. Yeah, I'm gonna say no to that. You jag off. I'll just very, very briefly, the Irish improv show that I do with my two buddies, Kyle and Joe. One of the tenets of improv is don't argue on stage, and our entire show is arguing. It's arguing, like to the point where
that's so sick.
Yeah, it's I mean, the other thing is like we have a really good chemistry, so we make it work. Other teams might not be able to pull it off because it can get you into bed, but you have to have real good chemistry to make that work. Norm and I on stage, when we perform, we could argue with one another, we could make it work. But a lot of people can't do it. So that's why the theoretical rule is don't argue on stage. Don't fight, because it's hard to get to a good place. Because then it just turns into an argument, and people are like, I don't want to watch this shit.
His Irish group, I mean, they bitch for a good 20 minits. And it's entertaining all the way through.
The whole time.
That's
Even
incredible.
when we're agreeing with each other, we're still arguing with each other.
Yeah, they're still yelling at each other.
Yeah, it's like, let's go to London. Nah, fuck that. I want to go to Los Angeles. Well, we're going to go somewhere. Yeah, we're going to go somewhere. But we're still arguing. It's like, what the fuck are we even... Are we going to go or not going to go? But do you find that with... And it doesn't have to necessarily be folk music in general, I guess, but just like... Or it can be, I suppose. But do you find that happening in performances on stage where you're looking at somebody who's not you and you're like, this guy's just a fucking poser, man. This is not legit.
I mean, I personally, I'm a spiteful person and self-critic.
This is the second time you said this.
Yeah, I'm really spiteful. Like, why I started playing music was like out of spite, you know? It's just like the fire of just like, my brother plays music and he gets girls? Shit. Piano sucks. I'm going to play guitar. Like, no one's going to travel around with a piano. Like, everyone just roams around wherever the fuck with a guitar. And I was like, I'm going to be better than this. Like, I need to be better than you at this.
I love
so
that
I
so
did that.
much. I love that so much,
like,
bro.
So I think...
It all comes down to pussy at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Oh,
God.
I didn't want to bring it there. I didn't want to bring it there. But, like, he has a big... I was really jealous.
Yeah, for sure. No, I hear you, but that motivates.
Yeah, that motivates. And but it also, the greatest attribute is also a very big weakness. So it's like mitigating like this, like, all right, how can I be supportive and like gain something from somebody that is not deprecating to myself? Like, that's too self-critiquing of or them or me or something like that. So it's like I'm not going to self-critique other people, but what I've gained is like my performances start like I've always like tried to introduce like an arc with my music and with the entire like fabric of what I want to convey in general. Like each performance has to be like a movie, there's always this very relatable arc that I want to like convey to you. And that's what I've gleaned and try to do every time.